Being a YouTuber can be awesome, but can also suck. Being a solopreneur, you have to do everything. Everything from coming up with video ideas, recording those videos, editing the content, uploading to YouTube, and engaging with your audience. And that's just for beginners. You know, we haven't even talked about brand deals or starting a business or selling products. As a YouTuber myself for 10 plus years, and I've been doing this before it was even a thing to be an influencer, I know I've made plenty of mistakes on my journey. In this video, I'll be sharing the 8 mistakes that you definitely should avoid on your journey to becoming a YouTuber. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Video Influencers. My name is Benji Travis, and we're helping build your influence, income, impact with online videos. Sean and I started this channel to help you crush it on YouTube. We're also the co-authors of YouTube Secrets, so make sure you pick that up at Amazon Audible. All the links are down below to everything I talk about, including YouTube Secrets. So let's get right into it. So the first mistake that I made when I first started doing YouTube is trusting industry professionals. I know you probably never heard that before. It's kind of new, but I've been doing this before influencer marketing was a thing. There was no how-to channels out there. Tim Schmoyer is one of the OGs when it comes to YouTube experts. He wasn't around, right? In 2008, there wasn't somebody to teach me what to do. So I trusted all these people who came into this space as, you know, professionals from industry previous, whether it's the entertainment industry, the advertising industry. And don't get me wrong, I've worked with plenty. I've got great attorney friends, talent manager friends, people that know what they're doing, but there's a lot of so-called experts, right? Or there's people that you think have your best interests at mind, at heart, but don't really. And so don't listen to those people. And same goes for experts, right? And I've got plenty of expert friends that have great channels. Nick Nimmons, Tim Schmoyer, Roberto Blake, right? Daryl Eves, obviously Sean of this channel. So many people adding value, but be careful where you get your information. One of the things I would recommend to everybody is make sure that you're listening to people that are actually influencers, right? That people that live this lifestyle. You do too much work to put the trust into the hands of people that are just trying to make a buck off of you or don't have any experience. Remember, there's a lot of skin in the game as an influencer. You're not only the person hustling to create this content, you're the face of the business. You have to run the business. In the beginning, you literally have to do everything. So trust the right people, because in the beginning I trusted the wrong people who I thought, were pitching me great ideas, but years later I realized it wasn't that good of an idea. Trust your instinct. And this is the thing, if you are an influencer, if you've got an audience, you know what's best for you if you sit back and you really think about what it is you're getting out of this deal or the terms of this contract. So really important. And I'd say, let me know. In fact, I see a lot of you guys are dropping your mistakes. I want to know. And the question of the day is, what mistake did you make or have you made in the past that you want other people to avoid? Of course, we're talking about 8 mistakes I avoided, but I want to know from you guys as well. So one of the mistakes that were called out by the Swedish car guy, not checking if my video will get any views, not prepared for the video, no script. Preparation is key. And I love that because today I'm talking more about as an influencer, as a business person, as somebody trying to become a full-time YouTuber, but obviously even the video itself. So thank you so much. We got money, Mo Money at the movies. Not putting effort into thumbnails early on was a mistake. Definitely. Thumbnails obviously is the advertising of whatever's in your video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and go to the second mistake I wish I avoided and hopefully you avoid, which is doing too many things at first. So what I mean is, we just mentioned earlier in the video that as a YouTuber, you have to do everything, right? Create the ideas, record the ideas, edit the videos, upload, engage with your audience. So there's so much on your plate. It's so important to always focus on minimal things. So my takeaway from that mistake is focus on one platform. I know we talk about how it's important to use social media to promote your platform or your channel, and I still think that is important. But in the very beginning, the more focus you put on one aspect of being an influencer, or in this case, a YouTuber, the better you're going to improve. The more you're going to be able to isolate what it is that's working and not working and stack on that, right? It's all about building on past experiences. But if you've got your attention divided on all these different platforms, it's not going to help you. Funny enough, it brings me to mistake number 3, which is not planting the seed earlier. So even though I do feel focusing on YouTube first, if that's what you're trying to do, is really important, put literally 99% of your focus there, I would still plant the seeds on new platforms. You know, when I first started, obviously YouTube was my home base, but I wish I had planted the seeds earlier for Instagram, for Snapchat, for TikTok. So what I would recommend is always getting your handle, right? Putting up some piece of content and then dabbling in it. I wish I had done that, because obviously everybody wants to start, but how do you do that when I just told you to focus on one platform, being YouTube? Well, you can always go over there, get your handle, and start creating content and just seeing if it'll go anywhere. Because it's really important that you have a little bit of context about that platform and get a little bit of experience, so that when it does pop, you're ready to go. Gary Vaynerchuk is really good about this. In fact, you know, everybody always asks him, how do you have time for everything? Now, he does have a huge team, but ultimately the content still comes from him. He does focus on a few platforms, but he's always making sure to pay attention. So that's a huge mistake I made that hopefully you guys can avoid as well. So let's get into mistake number 4, not picking a format and sticking to it. So this is specific to your videos that you're creating. This is what I mean. In the very beginning, it was really easy for me to look at all the different content creators, these different channels, and see what's going viral and try to mimic what they're doing, copy their formats. So it was kind of all over the place. Sometimes you see me doing some vlog footage. Sometimes it was more highly edited, produced content. Sometimes it was talking head videos. Now, I had a food channel, but even then, it was just like all over the place. A great example of something that actually works when it comes to one format is Binging with Babish. So Binging with Babish is a recipe channel, but what he does is he talks about these famous recipes from pop culture references, and he just stuck with one format. It's him coming into the scene. It's one angle, recording him creating these recipes, making this delicious food. And yes, now he is creating different types of formats, but that was the one format. And what you want to do is you still want to test out what kind of formats not only work for your channel, resonate with your audience, and that resonate with you as a creator, but you ultimately want to land on that one format, right? So for us, obviously this talking head video, this format is what I landed on. I invested into this whole studio because I know this is the best way to deliver content to you. Now, I definitely do some vlog type of content on here once in a while, periodically, but I stick to this. There's a practical reason for this too. Your setup never changes. Where the camera is, where the lighting is placed, all of it is the exact same. So it's much easier from a production standpoint, and even editing. You know what your intro is going to be. You know what your transitions are going to look like. You know what to expect from your content versus always doing different things. But also the audience. What you're going to want to do is, if you are just starting a YouTube channel, you want to test out like maybe 5, 6, 7 different formats and see what actually gets the most attention. What is it that people are enjoying? You can always explore different formats down the road, because I know that people grow and they change and want to evolve, but sticking to that one format. I've seen the channels that have gone viral, that have grown the most, are those channels that literally have that one format that is like the winning equation for their audience, and they just double down on that. So, all right, so let's get into some other mistakes. You guys give me some shout outs for what your channel is all about, where you're watching from. We've got the Fit Cosplayer says, I didn't do a talking head video for 6 months because I was too afraid. Really, I mean, In our book, YouTube Secrets, the very first chapter is courage. I just talked recently at a convention, and there's a whole bunch of leaders at this conference. And this was all digital, of course, 2020. But it was interesting how one of the biggest takeaways people had from it was the courage aspect. Why are we afraid, right? Like there's so many different variables, so many different reasons for different creators, but we definitely have to have the courage, right? Don't be afraid. I'll tell you this. I'd say 80%, maybe 90% of YouTubers I meet, influencers that make a living doing this full time, all have that hesitation, have that fear. Even Sean, like Sean and I have made plenty of videos about this, about the fears we had, the questions or the doubts. And so both him and I have turned on the camera and moments before definitely had a little bit of that, butterfly feeling. And that's totally okay. You know what? I always look at it as a positive. It's something that's going to push me for perfection. Obviously, perfection is not something that's a must, right? You don't want to wait till perfection, but it's going to drive us to get better and to improve. So rather than using that fear as something that scares you from doing something, use it as something to help you improve your process. All right, going back to the mistakes. So we talked about not trusting professionals or the wrong professionals. Secondly, doing too many things at first. Third, planting the seed earlier. So signing up for platforms, and kind of dabbling. Last one was not picking a format and sticking to it. The next one, mistake number 5, is not protecting my value. I already mentioned this. This takes a lot of work to be a full-time influencer, to create this content and put it out into the world and do it consistently, sometimes not just for months before things go, but for years, right? And then that's just the beginning. And then you have to build a business. You have to figure out how to monetize. You have to figure out how to keep this going consistently. So do not forget about all of that hard work and discount what you bring to the table. We talk about this a lot when working with brands. Remember, the brands need you more than you need them. You're the one that has an audience that they're not willing to connect with. They're not willing to put in the hours and hours, the days, the weeks, the years to develop that community so that they can build the trust so that they can sell their products. You did that on your own. And so when a brand wants to work with you, always remember that. This is something I have to remind myself all the time. In the very beginning, when I first started, I did not protect my value as much as I do now. I protect it like it was my life because it has been my life. And remember, if you're working so hard and you're doing all the difficult things, it's a shame if you're not protecting your value. And so a really practical example is like if your rate for a sponsored video is $1,000, do not lower it because they say, hey, this other influencer is charging $500. You don't know what that deal is. You don't even know if it's a real deal, right? If you have a rate of $1,000 for whatever reason it is, protect that value. Make sure you don't back down because remember, it's so important to always be doing that because of course, they're business people. They're going to negotiate the best rate. And don't ever forget all the history that went into bringing you to where you're at today. So in the words of my very famous friend, Sylvester Stallone.
Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth.
That's right, you guys. All right, so let me know again, what mistakes have you made? Put it in the comments below. We want to give shout outs to you guys. And the next mistake from you guys is from the Fit Cosplayer. I would obsess over subscribers and likes for the first year. That's a great mistake to share because in the first year, it should be all about your video, your value. What is it that you're delivering to the audience? Remember, it's going to take a while to build that authority or to convince people to subscribe or hit like. And in fact, Sean and I, we always talk about this on this channel. Sometimes you just have to put the blinders on. For I'd say at least a year, not worry so much about those superficial things like subscribers or likes. In fact, YouTube, they actually don't care about that as much as they used to. There was a day where subscribers was important. Whoever had the most subscribers, got promoted the most. Likes was important because that led to engagement, which YouTube thought was like a good thing. But remember, you can gain both of them. If somebody does a great giveaway for subscribers, of course people are going to subscribe. You could do some, good call to action and get people to like. But for getting people to actually watch your video, the audience retention, that is not that easy. And if you focus on that for years, right? A great example of this is, what's his name? Mr. Beast. He was almost unknown for years, and all he did was obsess about the analytics, not about subscribers or likes. He obsessed about watch time, audience retention, and look at him now. He literally gets tens of millions of views per video upload. So thank you so much to the Fit Cosplayer. Again, make sure you leave in the comments below what are the mistakes you've made that you want other people to avoid as you're starting your YouTube channel or as a YouTuber. Because I'll tell you this, I make mistakes all the time too. All right, so it brings me to my next mistake, which is mistake number 6. Read your contracts, or the mistake was not reading my contracts. Now, I come from a history of doing business, so contract reading should have been a basic for me, but I have had moments where I trusted the other party and, like maybe I thought it was short enough. And there's been times where there's little things, and this is why contracts are important. One line can change everything about the contract. So there's a word that I'm not exactly sure how to spell, perpetuity. It means forever, right? And I didn't actually think anything of it. It was in there or whatever, but it related to their ownership of the content I was creating for a brand deal. It affected a deal years later. So this like 3 years later. This was like a multiple 5-figure, almost 6-figure deal that almost got squashed because of this one line. And it took a lot of work, like literally months of work to fix this. So always read your contracts. I know that reading your contracts can be stressful. It's not something that comes normal to people, especially content creators, but it is so important to do because in those contracts are things that not only can change your business and how much money you can make, but can literally change your life and maybe ruin it in some cases. I do believe hiring an attorney is absolutely worth it. I have one of the best attorneys out there and has saved me time and time again. But in the beginning, when you're first starting out, or maybe you don't have the resources yet, definitely read your contracts. I'll tell you this, I still read my contracts to this day because still you want to know what is in that. All right, you guys, again, we're talking about the 8 mistakes I wish I avoided when I first started YouTube, and I love hearing about the mistakes you made. So the We family says, I also waited too long to start YouTube. Should have started the first time I thought about it. 2020. It's 15 years. Isn't that crazy? 15 years since YouTube started. And I believe to my bones that right now is the beginning of something great when it comes to YouTube. I believe we still have years of growth. We've seen massive growth because of people staying at home, people remote working, people not going out. They're on their phones, right? So if you haven't started, if you're watching, I know there's a lot of you right now that are watching this that haven't started yet. Start today. Like literally start today. Like record something really simple. Don't put too much effort into it and just record it. And if you have started, but like you have long periods between your videos and you're not really consistent, get consistent. 1 video a week. It's very manageable. In fact, I have a video. I'll try to link it down in the description where you can take 4 hours out of your week to do 1 video. If you batch produce, you can make 4 videos for that month in a matter of a weekend, right? So get started. So thank you so much to the We family for that mistake. All right, going back to my mistakes, the next mistake number 7 that I wish I didn't make was not investing in myself first. Now, I will say this. When I first started YouTube with my wife, I was totally all about investing in technology and equipment. I think a lot of us can relate. It was just Black Friday, buying the perfect camera, upgrading our microphones, getting a dope light, right? But even resources, different kind of, pieces of software. But I forgot to invest in myself. I forgot to invest in my mind, right? In my skills. Now, I will say when I first started, there wasn't a lot of resources. There wasn't a lot of expert channels out there. There wasn't a lot of courses. But definitely there was things I could do to invest into my personal skills. Books, different courses now, coaching programs. So important to invest in yourself because remember, investing into equipment, that equipment's one day gonna break, right? Or it's gonna get old. Investing into people, services, a team, I think it's so important. It helps you scale, but it's hard to do in the very beginning. Investing in yourself, in your education, in your skills, that will last forever. In fact, really important when you do hire a team, they have some context with it. So always invest in yourself. So some books that anybody can read. These are my 3 favorite books, probably of all time in terms of being an influencer. First one is the 4-Hour Work Week. And I'll put all the links below to these books in the description below. But the 4-Hour Work Week, I read that in 2008. And the book all talks about, of course, what it says for working 4 hours a week. Now, ultimately, I don't think even the author or myself ever actually had a 4-hour work week, but it's the mindset of valuing your time and scaling your business with different resources. And now there's even more resources, so you can really focus on what's important. The next book is How to Win Friends and Influence People, the original influencer guidebook. Okay, I know it sounds kind of weird, but it's one of the best-selling books of all time when it comes to self-help. And that book will teach you all about valuing your audience. Now, it talks about how to win friends and influence people directly because it was written in like the 20s or the 30s, and there was no internet back then. But that relationship that you have with a person physically, like in person, it's the same relationship you should be building online. So those basic principles never grow old. Last but not least is a recent book that Sean told me to read, which is called Hook Point. I'm telling you, I'm not even going to go into it. This book is the modern day secret weapon that everybody needs right now. So go to the Amazon links down below, and Hook Point is all about how important attention is, how important it is to have a hook right away and grab people's attention and keep it, and it tells you everything. It's great. I'm actually in the middle of it, but I already know it's an amazing book for anybody. So invest in yourself. So important to do because, again, that lasts with you forever. And I didn't do enough in the beginning, partly because I was just worried about building the business. But if I could do it all over again, I would invest more into myself than I did my equipment. All right, going into mistake number 8, which is, actually, before we do that, let's take another mistake from the audience. So we've got the Explore with Andy and Cole. Would say the biggest mistake for me was creating videos based on what I liked instead of creating value. Now, that's a very interesting a mistake because it actually leads us into my 8th mistake, which is not following my passion or instinct 100%. So interesting because what you're mentioning, which is creating videos based on what you like instead of creating value. I think it is important to create content around what you like because it's going to help you sustain your YouTube channel long term, even when you're not getting that many views, even when you're not making any money. But that's really important, what you said, the second point, which is always remember to deliver value. So rather than making something that you're assuming someone else would like because you like it, doing the research, making sure that it's something people are searching, people want to watch. Now, if it's something that maybe you don't see evidence that people like, if you like something, there's probably a good chance other people also like it as well. So you just got to do the research on find the actual terms, the phrases, the things people are using in Google and YouTube to find that content. Try to find other channels that are successful in your niche and see what works for them. And that's probably the number one thing I would tell anybody. In fact, when people ask me for advice, on their niche, on their type of genre content, whatever their channel is, whatever their channel idea that they're pitching to me is, the first thing I tell them, especially if I don't have a lot of time, is go see what is working for other channels. Every niche and genre is going to be different in terms of the strategy. There's definitely basic principles to success on YouTube, but it's so important that you go look at what they're doing because they've already done half the work for you. They've done the research. So look at their titles, look at their thumbnails, right? But the mistake that I want to land on here is not following my passion and going with it, my gut instinct 100%. Excuse me. A great example of this, and this is why I bring it up, is my wife, Judy of It's Judy Time. Now, she's got 1 billion video views, but she started out as a makeup beauty guru. Started vlogging when she wanted to share her life and she's building a family. And then when she became a mother, she had It's Mommy's Life and talked about herself as a mother. She was never afraid to start a completely new channel from 0 subscribers, and in some cases, kind of put the other channel behind her. I don't think she's uploaded to her beauty channel, It's Judy Time, in years now, and she's totally at peace with it. She's got 1 million+ subscribers, and some people would say, wow, like how selfish, you've got this huge audience over there. But sometimes, you know, like your passion changes. We talked about it a little bit earlier. You evolve as a creator, you evolve as a content producer, as a YouTuber, and you've got to follow that passion that's changing. As you get older too, things change, right? Life changes, the circumstances are different. Your priorities are not going to be the same as it once was. So following that passion is really important. Just making sure that you go all in. And my wife is a great example of that. And like I said, 1 billion video views later, 3 million subscribers across her multiple channels. And it was because of this. So never make the mistake of just doing something because you think that's what the audience wants to see, but you're not in it, right? Like really ask yourself, and the reason I bring up the whole like trust your instinct 100%, you'll know if it's something that you want to do, right? You just have to turn off the phone, go to a silent place, get away from some people, and just have a conversation with yourself about what you truly want. In fact, I recently was talking to another creator, and they're giving me advice on what to do for my next project. And they literally said, think about what it is that you want 5 years from now, and you reverse engineer from there. Not what you want in like the next 5 months. What do you really want in 5 years? Sometimes that discussion is more important than the near future, because one of the things we talk about in this book, YouTube Secrets, consistency. And the easiest way to be consistent is doing something you have fun with, something you truly love, something that you have a passion in. So I do believe it's important to follow your passion. Anyways, you guys, we're going to be doing a Q&A here in a second for the live audience. If you guys are watching the replay, all you have to do is join the VI club. Just hit the join button down below. And if you guys are interested in getting a special offer from me, I'm going to be launching something for influencers. These are for people that are doing this, that are full-time YouTubers or have been influencers for years that want to build their business, right? Please visit my link down below in the description to sign up. This is very exclusive. I've never offered it ever before. So go ahead and go to the link down below. And if you guys want to check out all the videos about YouTube, starting a channel, crushing it on this platform, getting more views, click or tap the screen right here. If you want to see all the episodes of the VI show, click or tap the screen right here. As always, we're helping build an influence, income, impact with online videos. I'll talk to you later.